Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Stano Show. This is episode 5, and guess what, folks? This tonight is my first movie review live here on the Stano Show. Let me just make sure my audio and everything is good here. And it is. I just want to say, yes, this is my first live stream review of a movie, and as you can see at the top, we are reviewing Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I saw it on Monday, Memorial Day, and let me say I enjoyed the movie. It was really good. I'm going to go through some scenes. I'm not going to give any spoilers here tonight. I want you to go experience the movie for yourself. And as Tom Cruise has said, this movie is meant for the big screen. And when I say meant for the big screen, just the photography, the action sequences, everything that goes on, the massive sets. I would just say it is meant for the big screen, just like he said. I am a big Mission Impossible fan, so is my wife is, and the show is just, I mean, the movie is just really good. I can just say, it does have a couple problems with it. I may talk about that, but again, I'm going to say it one more time. You have to see this film in the theater. So let's start off. And again, I'm going to go into what I feel in the ranking of all the 8 Mission Impossible movies. I'm going to go through what I feel is, in the order of I feel what's the best ones. But let's just talk tonight about the Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. Hopefully, I'm not going to give any spoilers here again, but is this the last one? You have to go see it. I hope it's not. I hope they can make more. I hope they keep filming the way they do. And you can hear by the tone of my voice. If you watch some of my other videos, I've talked about realistic. And there are some realistic scenes in this movie. In the fighting, in the chase sequences, all realistic. Hardly ever any CGI used, but realistic, which is what I like. And as we know, the movie starts off, if you read the plot of the movie, and if you saw the last one, they are going after something, a key that has to deal with this thing called an entity, or what we call today AI. It's going to take over the world, and they have to shut the AI down, or the entity is what they call it. And there's a main villain by the name of Gabriel who is a part of all this, and it's played by Essia Morales, who was really good in the movie as the villain. And as you know, Ethan Hunt has to get this. He has the key from the last movie. And I'm just going to say this too. You really don't have to see the last movie. They kind of like sum up in the beginning what happened in the first one. You can go online. You can see a sum up of the last movie. But you really don't have to see this movie to go see the Final Reckoning. I mean, to see the Final Reckoning, you don't have to see the last movie. But they have to find this, the shut down the entity before it takes over the world. And things are happening in the world I'm not going to get into. But again, the Mission Impossible team is brought in to shut down this entity. And in this scene, you see Gabriel confronting Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise character, and he is just giving him a speech. There's a huge fight sequence in here. I don't want to get into it, but when I say realistic, yes, realistic fight sequences, which I like. He has to escape here in order to start his mission. And Gabriel just tells him, what's going to happen. And he, of course, as you know, Tom Cruise, he's going to get out of this. But in this part here, they're just confronting each other. So then he has the key, and he goes to see the president, and the president, played by the great Angela Bassett. She, has been in several of these movies, and this one is probably one of her best in this movie. I would say. So he is on this mission after he talks to the president. And let me take a drink here. And this week, I just want to let you know, I still do have a friend of mine told me about my bottled water. I was making a lot of noise during my live broadcast, but this week, I think my bottled water is not as cheap plastic as I had the last time. So when I go to take a drink, hopefully you won't hear the crunkling of my bottle when I take my drink. I just want to say that a friend of mine said during one of my live streams that the bottled water sounded kind of funny when you were doing the live stream. It got pretty loud, but I'm going to have my little bit of my coffee here. So he confronts the president. She is going to tell him, he has to start his mission. And Briggs is after him in this scene. And there's a little confrontation with Briggs here that I'm not going to get into. But he goes on his mission, and a lot going on here. There's Angela Bassett as the president. As I said, she was really good in this movie. And so was the supporting cast in the background, I have to say. The supporting cast here was really good. So he gets his mission. He goes on. And let me get to my next slide here. He has to find this, the main code for the entity. And this scene, which is a really good fight scene, I'm not going to tell you where he is, but it's a really good fight scene. And I'm not going to tell you who he's fighting, but the fight scene here is very realistic. And in this movie, there's a lot of flashbacks. So what they do, they sum up a lot of the other Mission Impossible movies, a lot of the missions that Ethan Hunt had, and there's a lot of flashbacks you see in a lot of the opening scenes, and then also during the movie you see a lot of flashbacks from the other movies, and it's kind of like pulls everything together in the end. Like it pulls everything together from the first movie all the way up to this one. So if you haven't seen them, it kind of sums up a lot. You really don't have to see all the movies, but again, they are Mission Impossible movies are just really good in my opinion. So here he's really good fight scene. And then he has to find this, the main computer, the entity. And this was an underwater sequence that they did for the movie. And if you go and watch the behind the scenes of this, just the massive sets that they created for this, the equipment that they created for the filming, the headgear that Tom Cruise had on, this was all just new technology they were using. And that's what he is like really has started in these movies. Probably like from the fourth movie to now, he's really got into the technology of filming and the equipment that they're using in the making of these movies, and you could see it in a lot of these scenes, the stuff that they're using and the sets. I mean, in this scene, it's just they're in a massive water tank, but it is just so cool in this scene when he's underwater. And I'm not going to get into what happens there, but we can move on. You see, he's underwater here. It looks like he's unconscious, but a lot goes on in this scene. There's a lot of action in this. And he was just recently on Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Fallon said that this was like 4 movies in one, and it is just based on all the scenes that they were different scenes that they were filming. It just seemed like there was like 4 movies in one in this. And the supporting cast, again, I'm going to say Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg, just really good in this movie, as they always are, as they always were in all the other Mission Impossible movies. So after the other water sequence, he's introduced, and you probably saw it in the trailer. You see a character from the first Mission Impossible. There's a lot around that you will see when you go see the movie. but and this knife, if you remember in the first Mission Impossible, this has something to do with it too. But I won't spoil it for you. But this is really cool who you see in a couple of these scenes, and again, it's a lot of flashbacks in this movie. So from there, they're moving on to where there's a government facility where a lot of our hard drives are kept underground, and this was actually, if you watch the behind the scenes, which was really cool, they actually used a real salt mine that they went into and filmed a lot of the sequences for this whole part of the movie right here. And I have to say too that Hallie Atwell was really good. She was good in the first one. She's even better in this one. And there is a fight sequence, and she was just on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and she said she was 8 months pregnant because they had to do some additional shots. And when they went back to film, she was 8 months pregnant. And actually, when I was watching the movie, there was one shot real quick where I could tell she was a little bit heavier than she normally looks, like you see in this scene here. But she was 8 months pregnant, she said, when they went to film that scene. So they're in the salt mine, and here a lot goes on. Another action sequence. You see Benji here and Grace, and Tom Cruise is going to go do something, right? Ethan Hunt's going to take care of something here, but a lot goes on here, I want to say. But again, great performances here. Great action sequences. And from there, as everybody has been seeing, is the airplane scene. And I have to say, when I was watching this, and you've seen a lot of the trailers, you've seen the behind-the-scenes shots, you've seen these less than 15-second shots of him on the plane. That's nothing compared what the movie shows you. I mean, it is just, a couple times I just was like, on the edge of my seat, because how Tom Cruise does it. We know he was strapped in and everything, but if you look at the scenes when they were filming, the straps aren't really that big, and they're up pretty high, and he's on the edge of that plane, and he starts off at the bottom, and he's hanging there, and he's strapped in. But would you ever do that? I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't do that. And then he gets up here and he's holding on, and this is all done like really on no CGI. I think the only CGI here, and if you go and watch, is the actual pilot who's flying the plane. He was wearing like a green suit so they could just take him out. But this is all Tom Cruise here. This is just all Tom Cruise. And it is just really, really spectacular. I mean, look at this. Just look at this. And this is the first plane he's on. And in the shots you see, he ends up on a second plane. And I'm not going to tell you how, but he's now on the second plane. And it's just spectacular how they filmed this. And, you could see, you see there the main character right there is the bad guy, and Gabriel. And, he's, they CGI'd out. You could tell they CGI'd out the actual pilot. But seriously, that's really Tom Cruise there, folks. So at this one point, he must do this twice during the movie. He does this flip like twice during the movie. And it's just out of this world. And I'm not going to tell you where in the movie this is. I mean, I'm showing you these shots. I'm not going to tell you where this is. It could be in the beginning, it could be in the middle, it could be at the end. But this is all Tom Cruise, folks. And you see he's waiting for the government to get picked up. A lot goes on here. But I just was like blown away. I cannot wait to see this again, because with me, like a movie like this, it's something you have to see twice. Now, will I go and see it again in the theater? I probably won't. And I've said this before in a lot of my live streams. I used to go to movies twice a weekend when it was $4.50. Nowadays, with the price of movies and the streaming that goes on, I'll probably wait till this comes out on streaming, or then I buy it myself, and I have my own copy because I have all the other movies. But I got to see it again because there's so much you miss. There's just so much you miss, and a movie like this, it's just like there's a lot to see, and things happen so quick that you have to see it more than once to figure out. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did that. Just like an example of Interstellar. They re-released Interstellar last beginning of this year. We went, I think it was, and my wife only saw it once, and when she saw it the second time, we went and saw it in IMAX, and it just was like, wow. She says, I don't remember that. Oh, I picked up something different this time, and that's the same with these movies. You can go back and watch it like 2 years later, and you're like, oh, I don't remember that. Like, you pick up on something different, and that's why I will have to go watch this multiple times. Like I said, not in the theater, but probably at home, so I can like say, oh, I didn't catch that the first time. And that's why something like these movies, you have to see more than once. So I think this is my last slide, but I'm going to give you my take, and this is the Stano Show take. Now you see people do stuff like, oh, out of 10, what do you give this? Well, I'm going to do out of 5, like 5 being the best. This Mission Impossible movie, I would give a 4. I actually talked to my wife and Dorothy, as everybody knows, if you watch my other YouTube page, Mr. Stan 913. Dorothy gave it a 4 as well. But I'm going to go through the rankings of all the Mission Impossible movies to tell you which one I feel is the number one Mission Impossible movie. And I'm going to start with the worst being first and then the best being last. But for this movie, The Final Reckoning, I would give it a 4 out of 5. And why would I give it a 4 out of 5? It was a little bit too long. I would say that there were some scenes that were pretty dragged out. Some of the dialogue, I would say, would be like very slow. Like they could have moved a little bit quicker, and the dialogue, and they could have broken this down to maybe a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, but not almost 3 hours. I think if they made it shorter and made things quicker, you would have been more on the edge of your seat, and it would have been more exciting because it would have been a faster pace. But again, there was a little bit slow to me in the beginning. Again, the dialogue, but the action sequences, because I'm a realistic person, very realistic, I would give them a 5. The action sequences a 5. Overall, the movie a 4. Performances, I would give a 4. Tom Cruise, I mean, he can't do anything wrong. I mean, he cannot do anything wrong. And I hope this isn't the last one. I'm not going to spoil it, but you know, I like to see Tom Cruise, and I go online, I read, and I see that he is making other movies, which is great, other than Mission Impossible. I want to see him in a different movie. I go back and watch his old movies all the time, like The Firm, Cocktail, Taps, The Outsiders, which is another great movie, which I'll probably talk about here on the Stano Show. But The Outsiders, he was just so young. And in Taps, he was young, but you could see the potential of what he was going to be. And then Jerry Maguire, I mean, come on, he was great in that. Oscar nominated for that. He was so great in that movie. And I'm calling it out here for too. If I ever had the chance, I hope someday on this channel that I can interview somebody from a movie. I don't know. I would probably ask different questions other than what you see today. You hear the same questions all the time. But I would love to interview somebody like Tom Cruise. I would love to interview somebody like Harrison Ford. But again, Tom Cruise, he just does everything just so perfect, in my opinion. And he's just one of the best out there today. And, if you look back 20 years from now, he's still going to be one of the best actors, one of the best performers in cinema, in my opinion. So let's move on to what I feel in the ranking of the Mission Impossible movies. So number 8, I would say, is Mission Impossible 2. Okay, it was a good movie. It was okay. I think John Woo directed it. It was too much of that martial arts in it and slow motion stuff. It was good. I think it was the Chimera that she had in her. I always love that scene when he actually she has so many hours after she injects herself, and he throws her up against the wall. I'm not going to leave you, and he flies out. Love that scene. Then number 7, I would say, is the original Mission Impossible. Very exciting when this came out. I actually saw it twice, and the second time I saw it was in a drive-in. Remember drive-in theaters? Actually, where I lived, there's actually 2. A little far away from where I live, but not far where it would probably take an hour and 15 minutes maybe to get there, hour and a half. But I saw it the last time I saw it. Well, it's on TV a lot, but the second time I saw it in the theater was in a drive-in, and it was pretty cool. But this one was pretty hard to understand. I think it was Brian De Palma that directed it, right? If I'm wrong, just leave something in the comments below. But and I forgot to mention that on the live chat. If you're on the live chat, hopefully, let me say hi here. Hopefully, you can leave a comment in the chat or leave a comment below what you thought of these rankings. But yeah, this one was a little kind of slow. I think the train scene at the end, you could tell back then the CGI wasn't that good, but it was getting there. That was okay. The drop down in the what was it, the CIA, and he went down and he had to steal the knock list. That was really cool. All silent, right? That scene was very quiet when he was in the room, which I really loved. But that's number 7. And number 6, I would say Mission Impossible 3. That it was a good movie. But let me go on to the next one, which is Rogue Nation. Rogue Nation was great. I think this is the one where he scales the Dubai building, right? And that was really, really, really cool when he scaled the Dubai building. I think this was the one he scaled it. No, I'm wrong. This is not the one he scaled the Dubai building. This is the one where he drives the motorcycle. He's underwater. He has to jump into the underwater, and they shut the thing off so that he can change the code so Benji can get in. Then there's a whole motorcycle chase scene that was really good. Then we have Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol is the one where he scales the building, and the girl in this poster here, the girl to his right, well, my right, and his left. I thought she was great in this. I can't remember the actress's name, but if you can leave a comment below, please let me know. But she was great. I was always wondering why she wasn't in any other of the Mission Impossibles. I remember there was maybe almost like a romance thing there when she was in the dress and she's in the car and she's getting undressed, and Tom Cruise looks at her and she looks at him, kind of gives him this look. But she was really good in this. I wish they would have brought her back in some of the other Mission Impossibles. But I think this one was directed by Brad Bird, who did the Incredibles movies. And this was a really good movie. This is the Dubai scene when he was hanging off of the building in Dubai. And then I have as the next one, I have Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, as we just reviewed. And then the one before that, which is Dead Reckoning, would be, I think we're at number 2 here. It's Dead Reckoning. And then the number 1, I would say, is Mission Impossible Fallout. This was really good. Henry Calvin, Tom Cruise flies the helicopter, which he had to learn. Fallout was a really good movie, and in every one, Tom Cruise running. There's got to be a scene with him running. I love when he runs. It's just so it brings in the dramatic, just the way he's like his just seriousness in his running, the seriousness in his face, the music. Again, the music in this and all the Mission Impossibles, so great. But Fallout, yeah, probably the number one. So out of that, Fallout number one. That's my ranking of all the Mission Impossible movies. I'm hoping that there will be another one. So again, out of all the Mission Impossibles, I would say this one, again, I give it a 4 out of 5. I highly recommend to go see it in the theater. The big screen. Some people have seen it in IMAX. The theater I was in was, not a big theater, but the screen was perfect. And, just to watch those scenes, especially the airplane scene in a big theater, you must see it in a big theater. So that is my review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So what's up next on the Stano Show? So what am I going to see in this month coming up in the theater? And one thing I am definitely going to see, and I think it's coming out this weekend, is let me go. I'm on the wrong slide here. Let me go back here. What I'm going to go see is the Karate Kid Legends. I cannot wait for the Karate Kid Legends to come out. When I heard about this, I was like, oh God, I can't wait to see this. I am a big Karate Kid fan, the original Karate Kid. 2 I liked, and we'll get into that. I'm going to do a whole Karate Kid show and mostly talk about the first movie. But Cobra Kai, I was a big fan of Cobra Kai when it came out on YouTube and then moved to Netflix. It got kind of corny a little bit, but it still was good because they brought back old characters, and we'll get into that in one of my other shows in the future. But I am looking forward to Karate Kid Legends, just bringing in Jackie Chan, Ralph Macchio into this. And I'm hearing some good reviews about this so far. I'm hearing that the kid in this movie is really good. So I can't wait to see this movie. And it comes out, I think, this weekend, the end of May. Let me go to my slides here. The next one I want to see is Ballerina, part of John Wick. Okay, John Wick I do like, the first one. They got, the second one was okay, and to me, they kind of went downhill after that. But to bring in this backstory of Ballerina, and, I think this is in between 2 and 3, I think, of John Wick. But as you know, I can't remember her name now, the actress in this. She was in the last James Bond movie. Oh my God, she was so good as the Cuban girl in Cuba. She was so good. I can't wait to see her in Ballerina. And, hopefully, and what I'm hearing is she's done a lot of her own stunts, which I like too, just like Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde. Just to show the realism in the actor and the actresses, that they can do their own stunts and all the fight sequences. I just can't wait to see Ballerina. And finally, I know my wife's dying to see this. How to Train a Dragon, the original cartoon they made into a live action movie. This does look really, really cool. I think it comes out, I'm looking there, it's June. It comes out in June, and we're going to go see that as well in the theater. But there's one movie I have not put in here, and I did want to talk about it. And I don't even bring up the poster, but I saw the trailer in the theater the other day. Was the next Jurassic Park. I cannot get into the Jurassic Park movies anymore ever since the first one, which was really good. It just seems like they just have drawn, creating more. How much more can you see of dinosaurs? I know it's going to make a lot of money, but am I going to see it in the theater? Probably not. Dorothy will probably go, maybe without me, with my daughter. But I really have no interest in seeing the Jurassic Park movie. But these three movies I do want to see, which I'll show you again, are How to Train the Dragon, Karate Kid Legends, and Ballerina. That's my next three on the list. And hopefully I can do a review here of these three movies on the Stan O Show. So I want to talk again about my other channel, Mr. Stan 913. As you can see, if you go out there, I have been still posting videos. I hosted Memorial Day parades. I posted some Memorial Day crafts, which were done by Dorothy. But the show is still going. The channel is still going great. We're doing some traveling this year again, we always do, and we will post those videos. Also, if I have a new product, I will post that as well and demo it for you. I do have a product I am going to demo. Haven't opened it up yet. I got it for Christmas, and I still haven't opened it up yet. But it's something to do with outside work. Sorry, but that'll be on the Mr. Stan 913. So that's it for the Stan O Show tonight. I hope you enjoyed my review of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Go and see it in theaters. It was 4 out of 5. And as always, as I say every week on the Stan O Show, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.